I am so very pleased to welcome here to the innovation stage Thorsten Milsmann, Director of the Internet of Things at HPE. Welcome, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hey, I mean, I was listening in the last half an hour or so, and I'm really glad that I picked an example which I think really fits from what you just heard before. So I think we can pretty good match that ecosystem. So, but first, what is Internet of Things? I mean, is it about future? What is it? And it's really very difficult to describe, and I wasn't sure how I would do it. So I thought I really go through some definitions with you. No, just joking. Yeah. Let's keep it simple, easy. It's really things act with other things, and that's about it. But it has to be smart. So. Me working for Hewlett Packard Enterprise more than 18 years already, even if it was called HP in the past. We do things smart. Why do we think smart? Because we work out of the data center and we understand when information gets into the data center, how to analyze it and do smart, cool stuff with it and connect those things. Yeah? And that's I think, the story where I want to talk you through. And the idea was to do it in one example, in one industry, and I took the automotive example because I've seen in the agenda what's happening before. You could transfer that into any other industry, and I came yesterday from the industry Internet of Things world in Berlin, and there we were talking more or less the same structured story. It's about connecting stuff on the factory floor. And you can transfer it to any other industry, whether it's an elevator, whether it's a sorting machine. But the car story is the one which I think Germany is pretty advanced at, and where we certainly have all those nice car manufacturers more or less in the south of Germany. Not far from here, I think there are a couple. So is connecting things smartly? How do we do that? Yeah. And if I take you through this car example, I think back in the 90s, your car wasn't connected. Yeah, it maybe had something inside the car already working electronically, but the only security piece you had to have was this key. Yeah? So my old Land Rover Defender just has this key, and every other car, I think, now has another security piece. But let's come back to that a second later. So this car today, and you might reckon this picture here on the left side from you, what kind of car I'm talking about, but it could be one from Munich or from Ingolstadt or from Wolfsburg, whatever you want. This car nowadays is connected, and we heard before it's going to drive autonomously, and it will be a very large, what we call in the Internet of Things world, a very large edge. Yeah? For me, it's a very large, complex edge moving around somewhere in Germany or maybe outside Germany, crossing borders, which is for the provider of that car. Another issue. And what we do with our story is really connecting this very complex edge through a secure connection into the data center. Because if we could collect data from the car into the data center, being an automotive provider or a service provider in that area, then we can generate new services. We maybe can explain to someone who's driving behind me what the status is of the road in front of us. And we have been showcasing that already, so we can have a car driving around in Berlin at the moment, which is exactly doing this. Yeah? And it's just to give you one example, and that comes back to the sensor story we heard before. So HPE is probably not going into the sensors, but we need you guys' expertise in how to really do the sensors, how to address the data within the car. And then we have an option to do analytics at this edge. And I'm talking again car, But it could be also a robot, which is another very complex edge, maybe not moving around so much, or in the factory possibly, but not much outside. But in this car now, I have a sensor which is existing since a lot of years, even in my Defender, that would check whether a tire slips or not. And this information is important when I take it back to the data center in a secure way, because I can then understand that this road is maybe icy. And this information we can put on our analytics platform or on any other analytics platform and send it out back to the successor of this car and display in the screen. And that's what we show with an i3 as an example. And display in that screen, take care, 5 kilometers from now, a very slippery road. Yeah, we could take it a bit further if we would want to, and the car manufacturer then could slow down this car. The question is, how much is that allowed? How much do we want this? Yeah, there's a lot of legal requirements in that area, but the technology is there today. And if this goes further, then really we can have new services generated. And this thing here means kind of services. A service can be generating this as a monthly fee, let's say, being an automotive OEM, and sell this to you. It could be a service provider doing it for them. It could be anything else, but there are thousands of ideas in the automotive industry how all this has been developed in the future. So that very early case now is becoming very rapidly the truth. So we thought, what's the next step? Yeah, and the next idea was this will be connected, more and more cars into each other and talking to each other as a system of connected cars, and this will generate additionally new business cases. And the one at the bottom, which you can see here with those trucks, the platooning thing, is what all the truck manufacturers are working at, and they really would save a lot of money, which is generated by saving 20% per truck of the cost of fuel when they could do it. Again, we can collect the data and have the analytics there. What's then becoming more important is the security, because you don't want to have anyone hacking into this car or into that system of cars, and we can provide there something to the market to make that very much secure. There are some other examples here where I would see the car as a system of connected cars. It's like personal profiles, and we have showcased that last year with a car driving from the North Cup to the South African Cup, where we had a race against the clock, and we were collecting all the data from the driver and could show you at the end which driver was driving to a certain different way than the other driver. So all this big data coming in, being analyzed, I think this is where we will see the next step in that industry. So what will happen tomorrow, and that was touched before as well. So those systems will talk most probably to other systems. So could be a smart home, which you can see down here. And it also could be weather data, connected to a smart grid, and all these systems have been somehow to be controlled and understood, be secure, and really make safe from a data transfer connection. And this is where we think we have a word to say, because we have done that since, I don't want to say 100 years, so HP exists for 76 years, so more than a couple of years in the data center. And we take that data center knowledge, which we have generated over years, and move it across the network into that edge. And the edge can be a factory plant at that end, and we can control this end to end. So I think this is kind of the story of the future in the car industry, where we would need a very large ecosystem, insurance companies, new ideas coming in how to censor those data, and we need also new ideas and new business models, which will then generate tremendous new opportunities. Yeah, just one thing which I think is very compelling coming up at Christmas. Yeah, if you would reserve your parking space automatically, and my car would drive there maybe autonomously, then my wife would have more time to spend some money for Christmas shopping, but that's another story. Let's just switch how we would do it, yeah? And how would that work? And this is our, let's say, simplified example of this IoT end-to-end story. So we have all the things here which are somehow have to be connected. Yeah, those certainly have sensors in it. Then we can connect it through whatever network is available. Put the data on this platform, and then do the big data analytics, the control of all the system, and put a secure frame around it. And I think this is what we can do from our end, from the IT side. But we would need an ecosystem of all those partners, where some of you are around here, but where we really have to understand more what you guys can contribute to this, let's say, IT point of driven world. So forgive me that I'm working for this IT company so long, yeah, but it's really great stuff happening now. So that would give us this visualization, so I would probably know where this car is going to be. We can have this business model to summarize, but it's going to be a very complex model where we have to operate hand in hand with a lot of people. And we are ready to do that. Yeah, we have a lot of tools there. So I'm waiting to see all of you in our booth just over there at the other side to discuss how we can collaborate on this. And I think this is what the whole event is about, to understand what each other has to provide and how we can collaborate in those areas. So thank you very much, and also thank you to the team preparing this. And I believe the next thing is to have some startups here where we can really understand what they do in the IoT world, and they would pitch you a bit what's it about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thorsten Milsmann. You're doing my job for me. You want to
Thank
stick
you.
around? Thank you.